I'm Richard Carter. I live and work in Trafalgar Square at St Martin in the Fields. I'm a priest there. I've been a priest there for 12 years. And my special responsibility is for the mission and outreach of the church. I work a lot with homeless people, with refugees, with the visitors coming into the church, and also trying to organize the education programs, the lecture programs, the talks and that kind of thing. But before being at St Martin in the Fields, for 15 years, I worked and lived in the Solomon Islands. I was the chaplain of the Melanesian Brotherhood, and I was a brother myself, living and working in an island which is possibly one of the most remote parts of the world, with very little electricity, very little development. So I moved from there to the centre of the city. When I came to the centre of London, to Trafalgar Square, I'd been living in a community, living a life of prayer for many years. And the Solomon Islands is a silent place. At night it's dark and the darkness is very thick. The silence is very complete. Moving to the centre of the city, I thought I was never going to sleep again. There were sirens, there were noises all night. I was right in the heart of the bustle of the city. It was a very exciting place to live, and I loved its diversity, but I wondered if I would ever find peace again, silence again. And I began to see around me lots and lots of people who were carrying heavy, stressful lives and never finding any peace, because when they got home at night, there were mobile phone conversations, there were internet communications, there were emails to answer. And I began to see the wonder of the city, but also people's deep need for peace, to find a still place in the middle of all that noise and bustle. And on top of that, in Trafalgar Square, I began to see the needs of homeless and people who were destitute, and their deep need to belong and to find some sense of community and belonging in the middle of a city. So the book I wrote, The City is My Monastery, is really about that search for a deeper life, not a more eclectic life, not a busier life, but a more centered life where we become aware again of the presence of God in the middle of a city, where we become aware of the people around us, and where we spend more time with God and find a greater spaciousness, a greater generosity in our lives to seek God. I think there are many people searching for that silent place, and the church is very fortunate because it has many sacred places in order to help people find that place. We have this most beautiful church, St Martin in the Fields, in Trafalgar Square, where people can come and seek God. And yet we often make our sacred spaces far too busy, far too noisy. We kind of think that religion is all about doing more, rather than being present and meeting people where they are. This book is called A Contemporary Rule of Life, but I don't want a rule of life that feels oppressive. I think many people start to follow rules and it's a bit like a New Year's resolution. After a few weeks they think, oh goodness, I've failed at everything. But I don't think a rule of life should be like that. I think a rule of life is something that is life-giving. Discipline is a greater listening. It's a listening to God. It's something that actually liberates you and sets you free. And so hopefully the book is like that. The book is not like a set of rules you've got to follow which will oppress you, but it's hopefully a prayer which will open a sense in you that you too can do this. It's not onerous. It doesn't require great resources. It just requires you to give time, and time, I suppose, is the thing which is in greatest shortage in our modern world. But it's about giving time back to God and time back to the people who matter around you, time back to your neighborhood. It's about becoming present again. And as you read this book, I hope that the words will be nourishing, that they will actually be healing, and the prayers and the ideas and the thoughts and the stories in this book will inspire your own thoughts and ideas and stories, so that this city is my monastery will become your monastery. And whether you live in the city or whether you live in a village or wherever you live, that you can, through this book, discover a way to reconnect to the really important values and things which give you life.